Track wrestling here in Minnesota at the Pinnacle School of Wrestling with one of the architects of this, Brandon Paulson. Take me back to the beginning and how this got started from your perspective and what you thought it could become.
Well, 2008, I had coached Jake Deichler. He was 18, and got a chance to coach him in the Olympics, and really made me realize that coaching was a passion of mine. You know, I was still kind of young at that time, and changed my mind of what I wanted to do, really, that I wanted to coach for a living. And previously, Jared had said, hey, if you ever want to do something, you know, we can, whatever, join up or something, and it was just like offhand. So I remember actually my point in time where I decided it was in January. I was in Mexico relaxing, and I was like, I told my wife, I was like, I want to coach wrestling for a living. She's like, what are you gonna do? I said, I don't know. And I said, I'm gonna give Jared a call when I get home, and because I've always loved coaching the youth, and it's always been a passion of mine as well. That was always fun, but never as a living. So then we just sat down, and he wrote some numbers on a piece of paper, and you know, and it was like, well, okay, you know, and I you know, at this time it was like, okay, I'm gonna take a pay cut, but it's worth it because I want to coach. So we got everything together and became partners, and it was like, if we're going to do this, we're gonna do it big, and let's get a facility. And you know, it's kind of a downturn in the market, so it was a little bit of a chance that we were taking, but you know, we were both pretty confident that we could make something pretty special. And so we talked, and it was like, well, let's make guys good. If we make guys good, they'll come. And you know, that's what we've tried, and that's what we, you know, the goal is that we got to make them better. We got to make them better. What do we got to do to make them better? And you know, and if we're struggling somewhere, it's like, okay, well, this group is struggling. We got to make them better. You know, and that's kind of the business plan: make guys better, and you know, then they'll come.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how it started, and what our, you know, original kind of goals are. So.
Back then, when you guys first started, how many people were, you know, across the country that you know of were making a go of it with, you know, making a living in the coaching club wrestling?
You know, I don't know. You know, you had overtime basically,
yeah.
And they were kind of the big club, and you didn't hear about others. There was some others, I think, out in Jersey, and I'm not sure Young Guns. They might have kind of started, but not really
about the same time
either.
I think.
Yeah. So we didn't really know. But for me, my daughter was a gymnast, so. I saw gymnastics. I brought her every day, you know, to gymnastics, and I kind of saw how that ran, and I was like, okay, we could do something like this for wrestling. And gymnastics is different, but it's also the same type of sport, individual sport, and I was like, we could kind of use this model and use it for wrestling. But we wanted to do a little bit different, where gymnastics, you know, they don't even go to high school. A lot of them now, it's all club. We didn't really want that. We still want high school wrestling. We still actually wanted to work with other clubs, local clubs in the area, and so we actually have a very good relationship with them, especially for our youth, because we want the youth still sticking with their area as well, and then coming to us as well. You know, once they get to high school, then it's a little bit different. But so a little bit different model, but that's kind of where we took it from, is a gymnastics club, and going from there.
How do you make things work during the high school season? How does that work when guys are going to their high school practice?
Yep.
What is how does your system work and compared to that? Well,
you know, one, we have our youth, so our youth go stronger during that season. So we go with them more during the season. We still go with them off season, but less. But then our high school, you know, we have this preseason program, which is big, and our postseason program, which is even bigger now. But then during the season, we just go once a week on Sundays, and it's all technical. We don't go live. We don't really want to mess with the head coach's philosophy of training of you know, peaking their athletes. So we come in here, it's very low key, very high technical though, so it's like troubleshooting, what are you guys having problems with, what are you seeing out there, and that type of thing. So it's kind of fun because we can get a little bit more in depth on technique. So we just go technical during the season. If somebody wants more, then we give them an option for more, but just the once a week for during season. So.
When did you feel like things were really taking off? When was the turning point maybe?
Right away.
Yeah.
You know, right away we had great response. We had, you know, pretty good numbers, more than we thought we were going to get for youth. You know, for the youth. The high school, we didn't have maybe 5 or 10 guys that were going year round. You know, and now we have 100 or something like that. But the goal was we want 30 guys, 30 high school guys going year round. You know, So, and that was probably like the second year where we started having that, where guys were not just coming preseason or postseason, they started to come quite a bit. But, you know, we've grown every year. There was like a 1 year period where we might have been a little bit flat, but we've been doing it 8 years and we're growing 10 to 15% every year. And it's like we can't grow anymore, but then we just add more programs and add more classes, and we've ended up figuring it out. But, you know, I remember the youth, when all these guys were youth, and it was like, my God, these guys are so good. They're going to be good, right? I remember talking with Jared. It's like, these guys are good. I mean, just watching them drill, and the guys the last 2 years that really have graduated, and even some of them that weren't having a great amount of success. It's like, I mean, they know how to wrestle. They're going to be good, and you just watch them grow up, and you know, by the time they're in high school, it was like they showed. They just made that jump because they knew how to wrestle and they knew how to drill, and so it was really fun to watch that group.
Just off the top of my head, I can think of 3 world champions this summer from Minnesota, 2 world silver medalists.
Yep.
How have you seen the state grow during this run that you guys have had?
Well, you know, I hope we've helped the state, you know, and it was about helping the state and just wrestling. Wisconsin, too. We get a lot of Wisconsin kids. You know, one of our goals is to be a world champion. That's when I got in here, it was like, there's an Olympian in this group. There's a world champion in this group. I don't know who it is, but there is somebody in here. And that's the goal. That's what you know, because that was my goal. I always wanted to be the best in the world. And that's what, and it's like, not all you guys want to be the best in the world, but for me, that's what it was. And, you know, but then those guys started thinking that, I want to be the best in the world, you know. So they started, you know, growing up, that's what they want to do. That's what Emily and Mitchell, that's what, you know, they want to be the best in the world. And now you have Patrick and Peyton and all those guys, that's their goal. And Greg, and Greg got to accomplish it, and our first world champion. So that was awesome. Kirkley did an awesome job at World. So it was awesome watching this summer, kind of seeing those guys not just make a national. And that's what we've said all along. You know, originally it's always like, I got to win that state title. You know, and we're like, state title? Be a national champ, you know, and then it's like, national champ, let's win a world title. Let's get world medals, you know. So you make that step a little bit higher and higher, make their goals. They can't be complacent with where they're at. If they have the talent to be a world champion, then you go get it, you know. And not everybody does, but you got talent to be a state champion, you go get it. You don't take making state, you know. So it's always, you know, one of my talks is unrealistic goals. I don't believe in unrealistic goals, because that's the ones you got to make where other people think they're unrealistic. You know, I want them to make those goals that other people think they're unrealistic, but they're not, you know. So I'm glad that we were able to have a little bit of success at Worlds this year, and that hopefully these guys see that and they want to work harder and get to that point as well.
We're, you know, those are late nights and early mornings getting up to watch those. Were you guys having any club gatherings for that? Or?
No, you know, I watched them. I watched almost all the matches. I tried to, you know, and a lot of it wasn't as bad. Sometimes it's been like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. A lot of them were 4 or 5, so it wasn't too bad. But, you know, I didn't want to get everybody else up. That was me. That was me. It was kind of funny. I was Mitchell's. I fell asleep. And I woke up all of a sudden, and I look at my phone, and I don't know, it was like 4 o'clock, and he was on deck. I was like, oh, thank the Lord. So I go into my closet, you know, and I'm on my phone, watching it on my phone, and my wife walks in and just kind of looks at me, and she's like, oh, you know, you're watching wrestling again. As I'm screaming, get to your position, you know, screaming at my phone for Mitchell, you know, what to do, and coaching him from, you know, my closet at 4:30 a.m. You know, that's just the way it is. So, but that was so exciting, and to watch those guys, it was awesome.
Yeah, he had some wild matches there.
Yeah, you know, he can win. He knows how to win, and it's kind of same with his brother. You know, Patrick is the same type of way. They figure out a way. They're competitors. They're not going to give up, no matter what the score. He's going after it, and those matches were ridiculous. I had a heart attack each one, but except the finals. That one was a little disappointing, but you know. It is what it is. It's what happens.
What do you think makes Pinnacle unique compared to other clubs?
I don't know. I don't know what other clubs do. I know what we do, and I love what we do. We bring energy to the practice room. It's never a boring practice. Kids are working hard, but they're having fun. And whether that's for me and Jared talking back and forth, making fun of each other, making movie jokes, whatever, but then when it's serious, it's serious. And the kids know it's like, oh, fun and games, but when it's serious, they they buckle down, and it's serious. So it's a little bit of a combination of hard work and having fun, and I think we've created a good atmosphere where kids understand the difference and they want to have both. And I think it gets them to love wrestling, and that's really what we've tried and I think accomplished so far is the kids love to wrestle. They love coming, and that's not always the case. A lot of times it's the parents want to bring their kid to a club. It's really not the case here, at least from what the parents tell me. They're like, they love coming to Pinnacle, and that's just for us. That's what we want to hear. So I don't know about other clubs because I don't. We talk with other clubs, but I don't really go to their practices.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I think is being successful with our club. So.